Last time I just did a kind of a free-flowing thing. A lot of people said, "Oh, I really liked your style," because I drifted all over the place. My problem is with an ADHD brain and more than about 10 little projects in my head. Today, which is Friday, I actually don't know where to start. I've got 3 videos planned. I haven't got the right cameras because I'm still using the Pocket 2 that I repaired, put the new battery in, which works fine. But the screen is so small, and I wanted to film this, right? And the Canon 80D, these are 1080p cameras. I only got that one on test, right? Because I've got 2 down here. If you're new to the channel, you won't know this. And if you're even an old timer, you might even forget. But I used to talk about Project X. So Project X, in amongst the whole field revamp, the 4-square, the 2 masts, the fan dipole, the delta loop, and everything else, I've been tinkering with Project X. And Tom M0MCX was down at the beginning of this week, and we got Project X back out, laid it all out, it's freaking huge. And we're trying to work out how to engineer this thing. I can't tell you what it is because it will be unique, and as soon as I know it's working, I will kind of declare it. But I'm thinking to myself, well, do I just disappear for a month and do this? Because I actually miss having content to edit. I enjoy editing videos. If I didn't do ham radio, I'd probably do something else just for the sake of editing. I just enjoy the process. I happen to be quite good at it, I think. I like L cuts and J cuts, and I like doing all the audio and everything else. So what I was thinking on Project X, without declaring what it is, we could still have a little series, right? Like Project X, it's starting, right? Because I've got to dig the biggest hole in the field that I've ever dug before. And we need concrete and all sorts of stuff. And then I've got to work with some suppliers to get bits and pieces. But we could certainly do 3 videos over the next 3 weeks on Project X. Because if I can get some of it working for the open day, then people go, oh, that's what you've been doing, right? And what is it? Well, it's kind of allied to what we do here. You'll like it, okay? And most people will go, wow, I'd like that, all right? But you'll just have to stick around, right? Because I have spoken to it with the team. I said, Project X, how about I do, digging the foundations, Project X, whatever it's going to be, I'm thinking a little thumbnail and stuff. And as soon as I know that it's working, I can declare and show it to you because I just want to be the first, right? And then it'll be at least 6 months before we can ship because I'll have to I have to use all Wendy's money, well, our money, because it's quite expensive and the minimum order quantity is going to be at least 100. And so it'll be a huge investment for ours, but it should be worthwhile in the long term. Anyway, so that's Project X. I just wanted to get that off my chest because at the moment it's all the way down here and nearly out the door, and it's kind of a 2-man thing. But anyway, we'll play with that another day. What else have I been doing? So this week, right, start again. As you know, at the beginning of this year, I decided to convert this whole station into a multi-2, only because I already had a Genius 8x2 switch, and I realised I only needed, one other piece of equipment. I've already got all the coax into here, and I had a spare TS990. Therefore, why can't I have, like Jonathan sitting there and me sitting here, and we could have a multi-2? As you probably are aware if you're watching this, because if you're some random YouTuber content consumer, the last thing you want to be doing is listening to me. Anyway, so we got all that working, and it works absolutely fine, all right? And so I'm down in Cornwall last week. It's 10 o'clock at night. I'm on Wendy's old laptop. I thought, I'll just fire up. I fired up this station, as it so happens. And, there I am. I can't believe it. There I am, remote control. I just got a cheap headset on. I selected 15 metres, changed to mast 2, went round, because I was actually after Long Path, New Zealand. 10 o'clock at night, on 15 metres, which is one of the reasons I wanted to show you this, because at the back of Radcom, there's quite a complicated table or chart. Now, quite a lot of people know how to read that, but not a lot of people do, because it's just too many numbers. But I looked it up, and it said basically, there's a high chance of an S3 signal at 10 o'clock at night to New Zealand on 15 metres with a half-wave dipole. Well, I've got 3 elements at 12 metres, 12.5 metres. I'll probably be S7, right? Let's give it a go. I called CQ for about 5 minutes, didn't get anywhere. But a guy from Uruguay called me, Charlie X-Ray 7, I can't remember. And I thought, oh, well, that's pretty good. I mean, it's a long time since I've had a Uruguay once before, actually, on 40 metres, but not on 15. Anyway, whatever. But it just got me thinking. I've got all this gear here. You know, you couldn't... Could you replicate this? You need to be as nutty as me, right? Or K3LR or Whiskey 3 Lima Papa Lima. Well, they've got more land. They put up 200-foot towers. We got 60 feet here. I'm thinking, why don't I create a business model and a shared calendar for, I don't know what it is, £99 a month. I've got no idea, by the way, right? For 10 people to share Station 2, maybe even Station 1, to experience this, because it's so easy. It's particularly Station 2, because it's all transistor. You just click a button, it's all ready to go, right? Literally go, because I leave that machine on all the time on Station 2. Because Rowley's in nearly every day. Rowley's worked over, well, last count, since the beginning of the year, he's worked 170 countries from his M5 call sign. So the only thing you would need is a G call or an M call, right? So if you're a US guy, you would have to take what they call foundation to full exam. You know, I mean, if you're already you know what you're doing. It's 10 minutes revision. Just what's the difference between, you know, Ofcom and your equivalent? You know, just the basic rules. Because the electronic side is just like, well, I know what Ohm's law is. Yeah, 12 volts, whatever, you know. And, you know, £50 or $70 or whatever it is. I've got no idea. And you can apply for a UK call sign. And then you can remote, you see, without supervision. You could just own that station for, I don't know, 70 hours a month or something. And because the thing is, this costs a lot of money. The field costs, well, maybe I'll share it with you, but, you know, it's many thousands to rent that blooming field out there. And then the whole of F3 is quite expensive. In fairness, I've only got the top end of it. We got a load of warehousing down there. But I'm thinking, if I need to generate, to make this worthwhile, I need to generate probably £15,000 a year to keep the field and this bit, with a tax and everything, you know. And I thought, oh, that'd be a good idea. So I don't know if you want to be one of the, you know, part of the DX Commander network or something. And I'll have a backup station as well, because I spoke to James yesterday, the QSO director man. Oh my God, he's coming up with some fantastic toys for QSO director. World first, by the way. Literally, no one has done. He's got like 100 of these little sub-projects inside QSO director. But at the end of that conversation, because I just wanted to make sure he, you know, keep his motivation leveled up, because like me, I've worked on my own for many years, and I know James is on his own. And when you're in a silo and that's all you know, it's just you, sometimes you just need a little bit of encouragement. So I thought, I'll just phone him on the way home. And he's working really hard. He's solving all the tickets. Flex is now completely supported with the waterfall inside QSO Direct. So he's delighted. He's really worked hard. But anyway, at the end of that, I said, listen, I've got another spare TS990, which is down at Martin Lynch at the moment. I need to go and pick it up at some point in time. That's the one they repaired, right? I said, if I buy a big cabinet and a small PC, right, can I have internet and mains at the bottom? Because he's got a massive garden, you know, backyard, field thing. Can I put a Signature 9, maybe an inverted V for like 40 and 80, and a TS990, you know, in a box, with a heater and a fan, all that sort of stuff, temperature controlled, that we can dial into, all right, and have a 200-watt radio right in the middle of bloody nowhere. So, I mean, the noise floor here is low, but at his place, it's like non-existent. So we got that as well. And then I started to think, oh, God, so that would be a third station. Now, so just vision me with here. Just humour me for a minute. Imagine if we had half a dozen KiwiSDRs all around the UK on a private network, okay? And each one takes 4, you can have up to 4 connections, but, whatever. A private network now. You would be able to, and then also imagine, right? Bear with me here, right? And then imagine we also had, say, 3 or 4 high quality, like a TS990, right? 9 in box, 3 or 4 of them around the country, right? And you'd be a member of this network. You'd log into this webpage and it would say Cornwall is free, Scotland's busy, Northumberland's free, the Lake District free. You go, jump onto Scotland. Jump onto Scotland. You log in. Your whole log would appear using QSODirect. It would just suck it down and sync it with what you've got, and you'd be away with a 200-watt radio. Anywhere in the country. Hell, we could put them in Europe as well. Now, in a way, I want to stay away from by the minute business. I just wanted a really economical success. It won't make much money, right? The whole idea of this is actually, because I'm 67, I want to stay busy, right? So I just imagine if I had like a couple of spare TS990s, a couple of spare PCs, some Signature 9s pre-built, and I get a call from, one of the Scotland stations saying, oh, by the way, it's broken. Okay, fine. Big box coming your way, swap it out, just plug it in, right? And it will work again. And they'll send it back down here and we'll send it off for repair or whatever we need to do. So would you be interested in being part of that network, right? Where you can have a super low noise. And by the way, you've seen me remote control from home. It's just like that. It is so simple. It's untrue. But where do I put these things? That's the point. So my feeling is perhaps the shortwave listeners. So I don't want people that like to transmit because they'll have another bloody 990 sitting in their back garden, So if you're a shortwave listener and you would like to be part of this network, let me know in the comments and we can start to talk. And maybe I'll ship you a KiwiSDR, and a Signature 9, just to start the ball rolling. If I can get 3 or 4 out there, which is really for testing for myself, and then, I can drip feed them out. I mean, the first probably won't charge anybody anything for a while until I go, yeah, this is going to work. And then we'll go, I'm thinking of this sort of price, and we'll work it all out. There has to be a profit, right? Because we pay tax and there's infrastructure and there's capital costs, and we've got to be able to replace things as and where they go wrong. But it does mean you could have access to a network, one possibly with a 2,000 watt station and all the bloody stuff out here. I mean, that's kind of a high, isn't it? That's gold, it's platinum level. But the regular kind of gold standard would be, imagine if you had half a dozen TS990s at your disposal, 10 KiwiSDRs. Your world's your oyster, isn't it? And I can't help sometimes just visionising these things. It's probably, I'll get the one in James's house done, and that will just give me a spare, frankly, if everything fails here, we get a lightning strike or something. But it also means that Tom, Mike, Jonathan, Rowley, maybe a couple of you guys, I'll let you jump on, have a play, see what it's like. 'Cause it's dead easy. All you need is Rust Desk, RUSTDESK, and Sonobus. That's all we use, all right? In you come, fire up ARCP. Well, it's a window like this one. Although I want to use QSODirect. Main screen plus camera. Yeah, I got it set up like this at the moment. But that's it. So it's ARCP at the moment. But James is writing I better not say because it's his thing. But the bottom line is you'll have a custom radio. TS990 radio. It won't be ARCP 990. It'll all be built into QSODirect. And then maybe one day we could put some amplifiers in, whatever it is. So anyway, 2 days ago, I stayed at home and I set up on Station 2 a user called Template, right? And I made it perfect. So my only job now is to use Prof Wiz, I think it's called, to copy that template over to some new users. And I'm going to get Tom, Mike, Rowley, Jonathan, and maybe you, I don't know, to log in and test it. You know, it's your own, you know, it'd be like Windows 11 Pro, you know, system. So I've done all that. That's nearly ready to go. So that's fine. Project X then is, and I've been in contact with the supplier of that. Right, what else? So then I got 3 or 4 videos I wanted to do. And about a month ago, the Pocket 3, it just fell over on the grass. And then I noticed that the swivel head was sticky and it wasn't firing up, because when you press the button, it should like do all that funny stuff, you know. So I thought, well, I could live with it, but it's £400 and I've only just bought the bloody thing. So we clicked the button on Amazon, sent it back. And bearing in mind, it's just a little bearing or something in here, right? You send it back to a professional, you know, the Amazon recommended. It was actually the Shaver Centre in Nottingham. It can't be repaired. So we got a full refund. But the laugh is, we paid £436. It's the full 9 yards Pocket 3 with the new microphone and the extra battery and the whole thing. So we got the refund, and they've now come down in price by about £70 because the Pocket 4 is now out. I don't want the Pocket 4. It doesn't do anything for me. I've looked at the image quality between the two. I actually prefer the Pocket 3. So we've saved £70 and I bought the Pocket 3. And in the meantime, that's why I'm doing a little test today with the 2 Canons, because I just, if they're colour matched, because I'm doing most of my videos now down here. Have you noticed? I don't do hardly any videos at home. Mind you, when the winter comes, I might do a bit more, because I've got the whole series. I've got to finish off all the modelling series as well. So what's left to do out in the field? Well, the 80-metre dipole is currently tuned at 3,750, something like that. Now, I remember Kevin Lochin doing, I can't remember his call sign, you know, Kevin in the US. He did an experiment, I think, with a pair of 80-metre, I think it was dipoles, one tuned at like 3.8 and one tuned at like 3.5, you know, to see if we can get a double dip. Because Rowley asked me the other day, he said, oh, do you mind lengthening the, because he's in New Zealand, right? Do you mind loosening off the 80-metre fan dipole, because it's 160/80, by about a metre, because he wants to try and work himself on FT8 from here all the way to New Zealand on 80 metres. So I said, well, you can, but I've got IOTA coming up. I'm entering the contest. I don't remember last year I did 20 hours. I blew the world record off that, actually, did over 1,000 contacts. So, and I'll live stream the whole thing again. That was quite good fun. But anyway, do you mind doing that? Because he's trying to work himself. So I will do that in a couple of weeks' time. But while I'm out tinkering with the fan dipole, because it'll have to come down, I want to, I don't know if you remember, but a very low to the ground dipole, particularly a fan dipole. And on 160 metres, it's only 10 metres high. So on 40 metres, that's the equivalent of being man height. And it's possible that the impedance can drop, you know, to like 30 ohms or something. So, and it's a horseshoe, so which doesn't help, right? So it's not a plain dipole. Now, I don't know the exact impedance, and I'm not really, people have come up with all sorts of techniques for me. You know, you could use, you know, half-weight coax, less velocity factor. You could put the thing, and mate, I know it's just a low impedance, so all I need to do is find a way of gradually increasing it. Now, if you take a dipole and you feed it in the middle and you move the feed point, you just keep the same thing, but move. I mean, you can't just move the feed point. You'd have to, excuse me, you have to cut a bit off here and stick it on there, effectively move it, shuffle it across. But I've calculated if I do 6, 7, 8 meters off one of the horseshoe bits and move it to the other side, the impedance should start to rise. I'm not quite sure. ChatGPT can't help me. I've just got to try it out myself. And because it's so low to the ground, a lot of these modelling programs don't really like NVIS antennas because it's too low. So you get the wrong impedance anyway, so it's pointless really. So I've got that to do. I haven't quite got all the bits for the 4-element 6-meter Yagi for 50 megahertz that I'm interleaving with 15 meters. But unfortunately, 15 meters doesn't give a shit about 6 meters, but 6 meters does care. I did some modelling the other night. Actually, I was on holiday last week in Cornwall, and it screws up 6 meters. The pattern's not bad, but the impedance drops to 25 ohms. Now, bearing in mind, if you're interleaving 2 antennas on one boom with a single run of coax, that needs to be at some point in time split, right? One goes to 15 and one goes to 6. Little short pigtails with a T-piece. Effective, that's what I'm thinking of doing, right? 6 meters can see 15, right? That's the problem. So what I need to do is, from the T-piece to the 15 meter, I need to put another T-piece in and put an open quarter wave stub, less velocity factor. So what's that going to be? 6 meters, 1.5, well, about 1.3 meters long. Let's think about this. It's got to be open or short. If it's shorted, it will leave it. Yeah, it's open stub. So in other words, 6 meters comes along. It'll try and go down the 15 meter one, and it will see this teed off it, this open stub. In other words, a piece of coax and the end sealed off. It's not connected or anything at the end. And it'll just go, oh, can't go down there. It'll just show super high impedance, and hopefully then all the RF will just go to the 6 meter thing. I don't know many people that have built an interleaved Yagi, certainly not for 6 and 15, so I can't even copy someone's idea on that. So if the worst comes to the worst, I'll just have to use another piece of coax and use one of the switches. But I'm running out of switch gear outside, so whatever. So what else do I want to do? The 20 and 10, which is at 20 something meters, is working fine. So we've currently got a DX Commander all-band vertical, which I use quite a lot on my right ear and sometimes transmit on my left ear, particularly on 40, because I've got a 4-square, but sometimes just having omnidirectional is fine. So what I was thinking of doing is it's a 12.4, taking a 12.4 down, and I've got 2 old 18s that are not in use, but they're not sellable because they're like mine, I've used them. So in other words, they're not in stock. And I was thinking of doing a caged vertical for 80 meters. So what we'll have to do first is, it's quite easy to do thinking about it, but we'll put one element up, tune it for 80 meters, and then put a load of other elements up, okay, as a cage vertical. Will it improve the bandwidth? I don't think it will. Right? I think if you're going to make a cage for something like 80 meters, 160, the blooming cage has got to be like a foot wide. Because if you think about it, a percentage, 1% of 80 meters is 80 centimeters. Right? It's huge, right? 1%, right? Or I'm going from 2.4 millimeters, which is about just under 1/8 of an inch, to about that big. Proportionally, I don't think it's going to make any blooming difference. But I want to build that for 80 because Callum M0MCX sent me a box of tricks for 80 meters, and he made this for me. It's amazing. And John Gendron wants to make me one as well. But anyway, we can replace this because I can't have switches in here. It's all got to be out there. So the Genius stuff would effectively be this controller, and then that fires in. In here we've got relays and stuff. Then we've got feed in, and we've got a loop of wire, and then we've got east and west. Right. So it's got east and west. Oh, there we are. The loop of wire is the delay line, and in fact it's got a D for delay, I think. E, W, R, presuming that's our feed point. I'm not taking it apart. But, I just put my call sign on it, M0MCX. That will do any band. So that's a pair of verticals. If you think about it, we can have 2 caged verticals for 80 meters. It's trying to work out where the hell to put it, though, because the main mast's in the way. Anyway, whatever. And then videos. Some people have been after some videos. So somebody wanted to know, could I make a video about calling CQ? Now, I honestly don't know why. And I don't know what angle to come at it, because, you call CQ, you just say CQ, CQ. I think what it is, this comes into, not the mic shy business, but occasionally I've had a caller, right? M7ABC, whatever, just made it up. And you can tell they're trying to speak so quietly that no one else will hear them. By the way, I don't mind. Okay, I might just say, just speak up a little bit more. You could tell all the power's there, because sometimes it's not QSB. They've got it all. They just need to talk louder. Now that is kind of a mic shy thing, isn't it? And but as I said, I was on the phone to Tom a couple of weeks ago. I said, if they wouldn't be mic shy if they had to pick up a radio and say, can you send the fire brigade, there's a fire here, and an address. Because they know, if you've got mic shy, by the way, I think what it is, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're unsure what to say, right? Hence the mic shy. It's like, I don't know what the bloody hell to say. So if you had a structure in your head, I think the video would be quite easy to make, because I've said this before, is in your head, as an amateur radio operator, we're interested in signal reports to start with, right? So even if you just said M7ABC, and they go, oh, M7ABC, you're 5 and 7, a little bit of QS Baker, name here's John, over. Oh, hi, John, it's Gary here. You're also 5 and 7. Hey, thank you very much. I just heard you calling CQ. I'm off now. Bang, that's it. Signal report and name, right? Your name, If he then says, oh, whereabouts are you, Gary? You say, oh, I'm just outside London, whatever. I think if because I've had mic shy, before I got on this lark, the first few times. And then I realised, actually, all as it is, give a signal report and a name, perhaps where I am. I'm in the countryside in Warwickshire or whatever it is. And then occasionally you bump into someone who you just kind of spark with, don't you? And you say, oh, yeah, I've got a 7300 or a TS590. I want to upgrade my coax. And then before you know it, you're actually having a conversation. And the mic shy thing's gone then, hasn't it? Right, because I think this is all about... Oh, I've just lost the camera. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's shut down. Battery's probably run out. Or I've been going too long. How long have I been going? Oh, 28 minutes. I can only record on this camera for 30 minutes. So we've got the calling CQ, got the mic shy business, how to read this propagation chart, and a few other things tinkering out in the field. That's all I've got to do. Listen, I've probably waffled on enough. I've prepared my screen here on this little camera here, for doing a live stream. It's nearly 10 to 12 on Friday. I'll see if I can do a live stream at midday. I apologise if I've wasted your time. I didn't mean to. And I might have laboured the whole business about, the DX Commander network and everything. It might never come of anything. I'm just after your opinion, really. Is that the sort of thing, that if you'd like access to a TS 990, signature 9, and then on the other, the other antenna could be, inverted L 1480, something like that. You'd have a ball, couldn't you? WSJTX, you could do FTA or voice, because certainly in the UK, the latency with Sonobus and decent internet connections like 50 milliseconds. Round trip, I'm getting, that camera just stopped as well. Round trip, I'm getting about 70, 75 milliseconds from the house. Round trip, right? So bearing in mind, normally I'm speaking, it's like 35 milliseconds between me talking and that radio transmitting which I think is pretty good. All right, guys, I will see you all soon. I apologise for wasting your time, but there we go. See you next time. Bye for now. Much on my mind, I meant to say. Oh, here's Wendy coming to see me. Yeah, I'll stop. I'll go and redo this bit.
That looks like a...
That's the top of it.